Hello, I'm Svitek, 360 Creative Coach, and in this episode, I want to give you a piece of advice on how to hire the right person. Or, stated another way, how to hire better, so that way you get the best person. Now, before I get into it, I would like to take the opportunity to invite you to subscribe if you haven't already. That way you get all the various lessons and episodes that I put out right when I put them out. Thank you if you just did, and thank you if you already were. It truly means a lot to me, as I hope it does to you. So let's talk about this. I'm a big advocate of really kind of making sure you hire the right person. I think a lot of times, from my experience and observations, people are just so gung-ho to hire somebody, right? They want to fill a position and get it done that they ultimately think like, let's just hire somebody and that'll work out better. But then, then the person doesn't work out, and then I have to kind of open up another hire process and find somebody else and so forth. And to me, the rush of trying to just hire somebody ends up taking longer and costing more versus just taking the time up front and really giving the process of finding the right candidate and having that due diligence, I think ultimately serves you far better and is ultimately shorter, even though initially it might not feel like that, than the former. And so as far as that goes, I have this philosophy, like the best way to really make sure you're hiring the right person is to test them out, right? And this, give them a trial, right? In that sense, because like seeing a resume and seeing past work, it's all well and good, but it doesn't necessarily give you a sense of how you and them will work together, how they will work to, bring to life what you need them to do, and so forth. So do a trial. Now, the hesitation for a lot of people is that, again, the time aspect of it, and B, the cost. Because my principle is, listen, they're going to do the work, and so they should feel a level of comfort that even though they know it's a trial and then they haven't gotten the job yet, that they should be compensated for some of the work that they do. And especially if it's like a big thing, right? So for example, if in a company, someone is hiring like a chief content officer or something like that, and it's like, okay, you want to see how they work and so forth. So it might be like, hey, can you come up with a list of ideas that, can you come up with a list of things that you see that we're doing really well and things where, one or two areas that we can really improve upon and how that might be. Now, that's a lot of work, right? And it's a lot of work in the sense that also it's basically a consultation. So they're basically writing out a report. And so even if they're not hired, you essentially, as a company, could then end up taking those ideas and acting upon those ideas. And that's not really fair, at least not in my opinion. And so it's like, you know what? We're going to have you do this to see if we're a good fit. But, here's going to be the pay around that. So that way, even if they don't go, they don't get hired, there's comfort for them that ultimately, that their ideas aren't just being ripped off and whatnot. They've gotten compensated for the work that they did and the ideas that they brought to the table. So that's kind of how I like to think of it, when for me, this was kind of a big revelation, like moving forward with all things that I do, especially, because like the things that I work on are very creative based, right? And they're open for interpretation. So people might have good past work, but, I need to kind of see it and what they can do, translate that to the work that I need them to do. So, we'll do like, let's say it's VFX or if it's graphics, just a little sample, right? Like, hey, as part of the application process, here's kind of what I'm going for, but here's a 2-second clip. Let's see what you can do with that, and that way I'll know how they can meet deadlines, how they communicate, and the quality of the final product, right? And so there's a number of ways for you, depending on what you're going for, to be able to kind of see this through. But as much as you can, if you can just create like a trial, so you guys get to know each other and see if it is a right fit, I think that is the smartest way to hire. Again, it can be a little bit costly, but I think in the long run, the money that you put in is an investment and will save you in the long run, because you'll know you have hired the right person, versus you hire somebody, you agree to, let's say $1,000, $2,000, whatever like scope of work it might be, and then boom, all of a sudden they deliver the first round, and it's like, whoa, and that's not quite what I'm looking for, and now you're stuck in this contract, or they've done all the work, and so you're having to pay them for the full scope of work as opposed to, just having seen a sample. So, time-wise and cost-wise, I think, from my experience, it is always far cheaper and quicker to go through this process and really find the right candidate versus just hiring somebody, seeing if it works out, and then when it doesn't, finding somebody else. So that's my advice to you. Let me know if you have any questions, or I'm sure you might have opinions of your own, whether agreeing or differing. That's all fine. Comment down below or hit me up on social media at Svitek, and let's chat. And would love to hear your perspective on the issue. Likewise, if you think this episode might be of benefit to somebody in your life, please share it with them. I certainly would appreciate it, as I appreciate you, and hope to see you next time.